So I've been talking a lot about noise pollution and some of it from cars. So here's some ways that cars could reduce the amount of noise they make by a ton, actually, and would also make them more efficient. First of all, electric cars are so much more efficient than gas cars and better for the environmental planet. And people are like, oh yeah, no, this is not true because a lot of electricity produced by gas. Well, first of all, that's not looking ahead when it's not going to be produced by gas. Another one to counteract that argument is electric engines are typically usually over 97% efficient, while gas engines are usually less than 20% efficient. And but engines at turbines at big power plants and stuff are typically much more efficient than your internal combustion engine because you can just make much more efficiencies at higher temperature and on a bigger scale. So even then, there's some reports that in almost every case, it's more efficient to have a gas turbine. And also the gas, you have to sit more, you have to purify more for your car, and all these other things that end up using up a lot of power. And that includes also biofuels, for a lot of biofuels. So it ends up being that, no, this isn't true. Another thing I want to remind everyone of is that a more aerodynamic car is more efficient. Aerodynamic being more efficient makes more sense. It's pushing less air, but also it's quieter because you're smashing into less air and pushing it out to the side. Now we have a lot of ways we can make cars more aerodynamic. Slight dimples and stuff in the surface of the car, like on golf balls, actually, and I have talked about this in other videos, makes it reduces noise a lot, almost like in ways that owls reduce noise, but it also makes it more aerodynamic, and that you could do on almost any shaped car. The more precise the fittings, the better. So you can do a very imprecise one that's mild reduction to a precise one that's a lot more, but every little bit helps, and it works by keeping air close to the car because it causes little swirls around the car, and I've described much better in other places, which I'll link. But these swirls keep everything close to the car and makes the air flow smoothly around the car. Again, noise from a very small car that's just acting like it's huge. A very, very small car. But these things around the car reduces the noise from that, but also because the air is hugging the car more, and the vortices themselves reduce noise by acting out in different counteracting noise and mixing up noise, is that these vortices pull the air around the car so there's no place of low pressure where the car is kind of being sucked backwards behind the car. A huge reduction. Another way is to put covers around part of the wheel, or to have wheels not have the spokes exposed, and therefore air is pushed less aside on the spokes and stuff, which makes it more aerodynamic again, and much more energy efficient. Besides making it more energy efficient, it also protects the wheels more from damage. So another benefit of just covering the wheels a little more. Another way is you can have the car absorb some of the sound instead of emitting it. Now, this does not make the car more energy efficient. It actually might make everything less energy efficient. So, because you can't use the sound to power wind turbines and generators, which I discussed before. So if you really want to recover the energy from the road or something, with alternative devices, it will actually make the whole system less efficient. Unlike everything else here, it will just make everything more efficient, because not to waste energy in the first place is the most efficient use of energy oftentimes. Because every time you try to recover energy, there is a loss of energy. Nothing is a perfect recovery. Another thing you could do to make everything less noisy is you could have more different types of cars that are transporting different places. So small cars are less noisy, transport when there's small loads or for different uses. So having more affordable small cars for people, having more affordable small cars or small vehicles for people that do not need it, or vehicles are not as fast, like mopeds and stuff, could make a lot less noise than having the bigger trucks only when they need it. You could even maybe in the future think about modular cars that you put together, and because you put them together, they're the right size for the job. and therefore the right noise level with how much air they hit and impact. Also, a better dampening system for vibrations on roads could help a lot. Another one would be better roads that are less noisy themselves, which would also save energy because these roads will be smoother and you lose less energy from the brakes going up and down. The brakes not going up and down, the wheels and everything going up and down and going over small hills, because every time you go up a bump, it's like going up a small hill and you lose some energy. And then the whole system and the whole car vibrates a little bit, and all that vibration causes some of your wheels not to contact the ground as well, so you lose some energy, and also some of them to contact too much, so you start turning and you do minor corrections, so you start losing energy in those turns because it's zigzagging slightly. Then you lose more energy because it's absorbing some more of the impact of energy. Like if you're trying to move on a trampoline, walk on a trampoline, you notice that stuff, or on sand, it absorbs some of the impact, and that absorbs some of the impact, losing more energy. All these things are happening at once to make everything less doable. Another one would be to make the music system better, so it's louder in the car but less loud outside the car. And you can do that by having more speakers around the whole car, so it's less emitting. So each speaker has to be less loud, but it sounds loud for you inside the car because they're all emitting in the car. Or you could have one that has more of just a back or front system or different zones, so you don't have to blast it in one zone to the other zone. You can make you can use active speaker systems that could actively adapt to what's in the car to lower noise level, but then the active adaptation might take noise, which uses up power. By active it could see that some noise is already there. Certain things get muffled out faster than other things, so it could unmuffle the things that get muffled out faster, and not blast every note in every speaker. But that's complicated. Then you could put ordinance that sounds can't be too loud from a car, so they don't, which will also be better for your own hearing in most cases. All these minor things you could do. And then you could also teach people to honk less unless it's important, because people do not get honking. This is more of a side note. Honking startles a person, and startling a person when isn't always the best idea. Sometimes it makes a person more aggressive, sometimes it startles them into an accident, but sometimes it helps. It's like yelling. Yelling isn't always useful. If you yell at a person, they might flip at you and come at you more aggressive. If you yell at a person, they might drop what they're doing and actually injure themselves, even if it's a helpful tip. Honking is to get someone to get person to pay attention that's not paying attention. Otherwise, it might be better, if you can, to back away and drive more slowly. If you have a drunk driver in front of you, honking at them is not going to help. What's probably going to help is you backing away and giving them more space. So just if someone doesn't notice a light and staying there forever, honking might help. But if it's just like 1 second, don't honk. I made up that number. 1 second depends on the case. But you get what I'm saying. Well, thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year and 4,000 watch hours, which is really hard, but with your help, I think it can do it. If you have any ideas for future videos, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you know my contact, feel free to DM me. I just don't want to give out my contact to everyone. Well, thank you very much again. Goodbye.